Hi guys, it's Rewind here, and today I have a few tips on sieging. Before you can siege a castle, you're going to have to be at war with someone. So find any lord and attack them. So in this video, I'm just going to cover 3 tips that will help you siege with a few less casualties. The first method we're going to cover is a wall break. Simply besiege the castle and begin immediately to build 4 trebuchets. The enemy will start building counter siege equipment. I have an engineering skill of 12, so the enemy's siege equipment is definitely going to be ready before mine. Your troops first will need to build the siege camp, and then we'll begin working on the trebuchets. As you are building your siege equipment, you will be attacked by the defending nation's lords. Be sure to bring lots of food with you, and it's a good idea to have a retinue of prisoners in your party as well, to replenish whatever you lose while defending from these lords. While defending from these attacks can be annoying, it can also be very worthwhile. You gain a lot... that poor horse. You can gain a lot of influence and renown, and as well as a lot of money from selling their gear. When you do defend from these lords, you'll notice that your siege camp is still up, and you didn't lose any progress building your trebuchet. So just continue the siege. It should be noted that you may have to defend upwards of 10 of these battles during the full siege process while trying to break the wall. If you deploy 1 trebuchet at a time, counter siege equipment's going to kill that trebuchet. So when the trebuchet is done, click on it and hit move to reserve. Fast forward it a little bit. Here's my 4th trebuchet just about to complete. Great. Move to reserve. And here comes the fun part. Pause the game and click on these squares to deploy your trebuchets. See, we have 4 in reserve. Let's put all 4 out. Some of them are a little bit damaged from taking a shot or 2 before I got them in reserve. But you can see, when I unpause, their defenses fall very rapidly. And already they have no counter siege. So now I can sit here and just bombard the wall till it's broken. This is my preferred style of sieging if I have a very cavalry-centric or infantry-centric army. I find cavalry units especially take a lot of damage going up ladders. Even though your cavalry still won't have their horses in the siege, they'll encounter a lot less one-on-one with infantry units by breaking the wall. Once we actually enter the siege, deploy your cavalry and infantry as far forward as you can, and you'll notice that they very rapidly can channel through that broken hole and fight as a group. Method 2 consists of whittling down the enemy forces before your main attack. Building siege equipment is optional in this method. So lead an assault, and once you're in, deploy your units to the back of the field. Currently in build 1.4 of Bannerlord, there is no penalty for retreating your troops. So immediately once in the battle, press F1, F7, and tell all your troops to retreat. By doing this, you've guaranteed that you take no casualties. This method I prefer if I have a character with a high archery skill, or if I'm extremely outnumbered or outgunned. Now that your troops are gone, you can go ahead and use the siege equipment or your arrows to remove as many enemies as you want before you retreat. When you run out of arrows, simply hit tab and press retreat, penalty free. As long as your health is still over 20%, you'll be able to continue the siege after this. You can then lead a second assault and rinse and repeat as many times as you'd like. My third and favorite method consists of no cheesing game mechanics at all. Okay, maybe a little bit. This method should be used if your army is very archer-centric. What we want to do is deploy our archers directly in line with the ladders you're going to use. And remember, archers always in a spread formation. You can see my infantry moving up the ladder. However, that is simply just to draw the enemy to that point. Once the enemy is drawn to that point, we're going to call our infantry back, and they're going to come back down the ladder. In reality, we could have left the infantry behind. We didn't need them to lift the ladder. We could have done it ourselves, and we could have climbed on the ladder ourselves, and all enemies would have been drawn to the one ladder that was being mounted. It appears that if there's only one ladder with a person on it, all the enemies are drawn to that point to try to defend. By positioning ourselves a couple feet down the ladder, they're actually dropping their shields to try to hit. If our archers run out of ammo, we could always retreat and go back to method 2, just using the full army. You may take 1 or 2 casualties early on, but the enemy archers are going to filter to the front to try to get the shot really quick, and they're going to be the first dead. So eventually what you get is risk-free slaughter. Once their numbers are whittled down enough, just tell your archers to hold fire, climb back down the ladder, send everyone in, and you gonna have a castle. As your troops all approach the ladder, tell your archers to fire at will again. This will ensure that your infantry is the first up the ladders. Once you do have a couple infantry on the ladders, go ahead and tell your archers to hold fire again. They'll climb up the ladders, and once they're on the wall, you can give them the fire at will command again. I hope this guide helps you kill all the bad lords, guys. Again, all the love, Rewind.